Hello, hello. So it turns out there are four parts to 2.5. I forgot a section here. It's very short. It is evaluating functions. Okay, so take notes. So 2.5, part 4, intro to functions. And what we are going to focus on here is evaluating functions. Okay, so notation for functions. So sometimes we use this, f of x. That's a popular one, but we really could use any letter, f, g, h, okay, etc. Okay, but that's the notation we use. And it generally replaces the y. So so it replaces the y in some cases. Okay, so for example, if you have this, it now becomes f of x equals 2x minus 1 instead of y equals. Okay. All right. So when we evaluate a function, it'll look like this. When it's asking you to evaluate, you'll see something like this. Now, that does not mean multiplication. That does not mean f times 2. Okay. This means evaluate the function for x equals 2. Okay, so what that basically means is right here, this notation here is telling you what to replace the x values with and then work out the problem. So this is saying replace all the x values with 2. Okay, so basically replace all x values with 2 and simplify. Okay, so it might have a 2 inside here, it might have a 5, it might have a -3. It can be anything inside here. But whatever's inside here, that's what you need to replace all the x values with. Okay, so let's take a look at a few examples. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple of functions. That way we don't have to write it so many times. All right, let f of x equals 4x plus 3. And let g of x equal x squared minus 2x. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the following. A, f of 3. Okay, so what this means is, first of all, make sure you know which function we're dealing with, the f function or the g function. And so, of course, this here, since it's the letter f, we are dealing with this function here. And again, this inside tells us what to replace the x with. Okay, there's only one x in this function, and they're asking you to replace it with a 3 and then simplify it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and write 4 times 3 plus 3. And then we work this out, and we get 15. Okay, so f of 3 equals 15. All right, let's take a look at another example. Let's go ahead and find f of -1. Why don't you go ahead and try that? So all you're doing is, okay, so figure out which function we're using, f or g. Should be obvious, okay? And go ahead and replace the x value in this function with whatever is inside here, okay? Go ahead and hit the pause button and give it a try, and then come back and see if you get the same answer. Okay, so you should have gotten -1. Okay, let's go ahead and try. Let's go ahead and try this one. G of -3. Okay, so again, decide which function you're going to use. Should be obvious. It's g. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and replace the x's here with whatever is inside here. So go ahead and give this one a try. I want to see if you guys get this one right because we're using a negative number. Okay, go ahead and give it a try. Hit the pause button and come right back. So right here, we have to square x. So we have to square -3. So that becomes positive. And that becomes positive. Double negative right here. Double negative becomes +6. 9 plus 6 is 15. Okay, very good. Okay, so here, this is basically saying when x is 3, y is 15. Okay, so x is 3 and the y value is 15, or its coordinate pair. Okay, and this is like saying x is -1, y equals -1. So let's write those down. So these are like points. So when x is 3, you get 15. When x is -1, you get -1. And then over here, when x is -3, you get 15. Okay. All right. So over here, especially when you have squares, use parentheses so you don't forget to square the negative. Okay. Always use parentheses. It's always a good habit. All right. So go ahead and try this one. G of -4. Okay. Hit the pause button. Okay, so +16, double negative there becomes 8. So we get 24. So here, the coordinates are x is -4 and y is 24. Okay. Okay, and let's go ahead and try this one. Suppose I want you to find g of m. Okay, then that means you have to replace the x with this. Well, what is this? It's m. So we're going to replace the x's with m. Okay, so we get m squared minus 2 times m. And can't really do anything with it, so we just keep it as is, m squared minus 2m. Nothing really exciting there. Okay. What if I said find this, g of 2m? That's a little more exciting. Okay, So we have to replace all of the x's with 2m. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. 2m squared minus 2 times 2m. Okay, and this we could actually simplify a little bit more. So let's go ahead and square this. 2m times 2m is 4m squared. And here we get negative 4m. Okay. All right, so I want you to try this one. Go ahead and find g of negative 5n. G of negative 5n. Okay, hit the pause button and come right back. Okay, so you should have gotten this here, 25n squared plus 10n. Okay, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and make it even a little more challenging, a little more interesting. But let's go back to the f function. So see if you can find this. F of r plus 1. Okay, so all you're doing, again, just like these here, whatever's inside, that's what you need to replace the x with. Okay, so here are your functions. Right now we're dealing with the f function, right? F. So we have to replace all the x's in the f function with r plus 1. Okay, so right here, we have to replace all of the x's right here in the f function with r plus 1. Okay, so this is how we do it. Okay, here, let me write the function up here. So the function is, so I don't have to keep scrolling back and forth, 4x plus 3. Okay, there's the function. So I have to replace that with whatever it's in here. Okay, we already saw here, I replaced the x with 3. I replaced the x with negative 1. So now I'm going to replace that x with r plus 1. Okay, and I can simplify this by using the distributive property. 4r plus 4 plus 3, and I get 4r plus 7. Okay, all right, let's do one last one. You get to try this one. Try finding f of, let's do f of 2a plus 3. Okay, so here's your function. I copied it over here. So you need to replace this x with whatever is in here. Okay, hit the pause button, come right back. Okay, and then distributive property, and then combine like terms. Okay, so that's basically it for evaluating functions. So again, all you have to do is when you see this, it means to evaluate the function for this particular x value. And this value can be a number, or like we saw here, it could be a variable, or it could be a full-on expression. Okay, but it all means the same it all means the same thing. Replace the x with whatever's here. Replace the x with whatever's in here. Replace the x with whatever's here. Replace the x with whatever is here. Replace the x with whatever is here. Okay? All right, if you have any questions, make sure you email me or send me a message through the Remind app, all you have to do is reply to any of the announcements that I have sent through the Remind app, and I will get your text message and nobody else will. Okay, see you next time.